Today, we are exploring the deep, honestly fascinating psychology of extreme people-pleasing. We're going to unpack exactly what happens in your brain and your body when you spend your entire life trying to save everyone else. And more importantly, how in that process, you might just be quietly causing yourself to fade completely away. So, let's get started.
Have you ever felt like you're just a supporting character in everyone else's movie, but somehow you are completely missing from your own? You know the feeling. You're the one who always answers texts instantly. You completely rearrange your schedule to accommodate a friend. You swallow your own anger just to keep the peace, and you'll sit and listen for hours to everyone else's problems. Basically, you're everyone's safety net. But the really painful reality here, you're walking that exact same tightrope, but without a safety net for yourself.
And that brings us to what psychology calls the invisible person paradox. The tragedy of this paradox is just stark. To the outside world, you're a dependable saint. You're kind, you're generous, you're always there. But behind closed doors, a really bitter realization settles in. Because when you're the one hurting, or when your energy shifts and you need support, the phone stays completely silent. It's this massive, heartbreaking disconnect between what you give out and how totally unseen you actually feel.
But to truly grasp why this happens, we have to look past the surface-level idea of just being nice. Let's shift our focus to developmental psychology for a second. The behavior we're talking about today, it is rarely just an inherent personality trait or some quirky flaw in your character. Actually, scratch that. It is a beautifully, complexly designed survival mechanism. You didn't just wake up one day and decide to be an extreme people-pleaser. Your brain developed this strategy to keep you safe during your most formative years.
This is exactly where the amygdala comes in. Think of it as your brain's built-in danger alarm. You see, many invisible people grew up in environments where love was highly conditional, or emotional stability was just incredibly fragile. Maybe a parent's mood changed like the weather, or you felt like you were only worthy of attention when you were being completely silent and helpful. To survive that deeply unpredictable environment, your amygdala became hyper-vigilant. It stayed constantly on high alert just to protect you. And this brilliantly illustrates what happens next. You literally learn to read the room like a radar station. You probably memorized the exact sound of a heavy footstep in the hallway, or you could detect the absolute slightest sharp tone in a voice. You knew exactly what the cold silence at the dinner table meant, right? Tracking these tiny, subtle shifts equated to your physical and emotional safety. You became an absolute expert at reading the invisible data in the room. So during those years, your nervous system recorded a very specific, undeniable survival message. If I can keep everyone else happy, I will be safe. Over time, this intense vigilance practically fuses into your actual identity. As an adult, you don't just help people because you want to. Your brain literally treats other people's dissatisfaction or even just their bad moods as an immediate threat to your own survival. Keeping the peace is quite literally how your brain thinks it's keeping you alive.
But here is where the problem really deepens. This hypervigilance turns your greatest strength, your empathy, into a literal prison. You are so highly attuned to the emotions of others that you find yourself constantly managing everyone else's emotional temperature. You know the exact words to calm a storm, what smile to flash to ease the tension, and exactly when you need to quietly step back into the shadows. You make everyone around you feel incredibly comfortable, while you yourself are trapped inside this exhausting, non-stop vigilance.
In psychology, this phenomenon is defined as cognitive and emotional empathy absorption. And look, this isn't just feeling bad for someone. This is the automatic, entirely involuntary absorption of other people's stress. When a friend is anxious, your own chest physically tightens up. When a partner is acting distant, this absorption forces you to run non-stop mental simulations, just trying to figure out how to fix them. Your brain is dedicating massive amounts of computing power to solve problems that aren't even yours to solve.
I want to pause right here for a second and ask you a hard-hitting question. Who validates the validator? Think about it. People absolutely love being around you because you deeply validate them. But because you hide your own needs so perfectly behind this flawless mask of competence and care, the world just assumes you simply don't have any needs at all. You become completely invisible in plain sight, projecting an image of total self-sufficiency that ultimately leaves you completely alone.
The exhausting reality of this dynamic is that you effectively become a container for other people's emotional waste. You absorb all their venting, their frustrations, their anxieties, leaving you entirely hollowed out at the end of the day. It is a profoundly lonely experience to sit in a crowd of people who absolutely love what you do for them, but who don't actually see who you truly are.
Now we have to look at the consequences, because they are severe. Suppressing your true identity
isn't just emotionally draining. It comes with a massive biological and psychological price tag. Wearing this mask of endless accommodation takes a devastating toll on your physical body and your long-term mental health.
That toll is closely processed in the insular cortex. This is a fascinating brain region that handles unexpressed, stored emotion. When you constantly hold everything in, swallowing your anger, ignoring your boundaries, your body begins to store that unexpressed emotion. This directly triggers the insular cortex, leading to a brutal, looping cycle of internal anxiety, chronic stress, and just deep physical exhaustion. Your body literally keeps the score of everything you don't say.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how powerfully it contrasts these two concepts. We so often confuse people-pleasing with being a good person, but there's a massive difference between authentic kindness and fear-based compliance. True kindness stems from emotional abundance. You give because your cup is full. People-pleasing, however, stems from scarcity. It is compliance driven by the terrifying fear that if you ever stop giving, you will be abandoned.
Because that fear of conflict or abandonment is so intensely terrifying, the invisible person ends up stepping completely outside of their own life. You trade your actual lived presence for a sense of protection. Instead of truly experiencing your life, you're constantly managing it. You start treating it like a high-risk project where every single variable has to be predicted and controlled, all just to protect everyone else from disappointment.
If what we've covered so far feels painfully familiar to you, I want to shift our focus right now. Listen to me. It is time to drop the heavy burden you were never ever meant to carry. It is time to move from being the invisible person to finally becoming visible. You have the power to change this dynamic, and we are going to look at exactly how you can start reclaiming your identity and your life right now.
First off, let me reassure you about something really important. You cannot turn off your deep empathy. And honestly, you shouldn't try to. Empathy is a rare, beautiful gift. But that emotional attunement only functions healthily when it's paired with strict boundaries. You have to learn to know what is yours to handle and what firmly belongs to the rest of the world to figure out on their own.
So the crucial point is applying these 3 freeing principles so you can actually step out of the shadows. Step 1. No is a complete sentence, and it doesn't need an apology attached. Step 2. You are not responsible for regulating the emotions of grown adults. If they are upset by your boundaries, that's their math to solve, not yours. And step 3. Prioritizing your peace is not selfish. It is a fundamental prerequisite for survival. These are your tangible tools. Use them.
Now, when you do start honoring your needs, and you stop pouring from an empty cup, something difficult will probably happen. Some people might walk away. And when they do, I want you to remember this profound realization. They didn't love you. They loved your lack of boundaries. That right there, that is your ultimate closure. The people who truly belong in your life are going to love you even when you have absolutely nothing left to give them. I want to leave you with this final, deeply provocative thought to mull over. What will you do when you finally take off that armor of endless accommodation? Who will you become when you allow yourself to be fully seen? I really hope this explainer has given you the clarity and, more importantly, the courage to find out. Thank you so much for exploring this with me today. Protect your peace, take care of your brilliant soul, and I'll see you in the next explainer.